Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Taylor of Taylor and Crochet, and today I'm going to show you guys how to DIY your own patterned acrylic. Sorry, I'll get you guys a better angle on this. And this is kind of like the at-home method that anyone can use. Sublimation is one that if you have a sublimation printer, or you can purchase sublimation prints. There's a lot of sites. I think I want to say CDS vinyl. I'll figure out what it is and put it up here on the screen, exactly that. And then there's a few like people who sell like screen print transfers and stuff like that. A lot of them tend to sell transfers for sublimation as well, which means you would just get a sheet with whatever pattern you chose with sublimation ink that you could press using your heat press. And maybe I'll make a tutorial on that if you guys would like that. But I wanted to show you guys how to just use patterned paper. That's how I made this one, is patterned paper and acrylic. And I chose not to put a backer on this, but you could cut another piece of acrylic or use Flex. Smoky Hills Designs sells Flex, which is a really thin acrylic. You can buy it with 3M sticky tape already on the back, or you can apply your own, or you can Mod Podge on the back to make it a more finished back piece. But I just want to show you guys how I made this. Let's go. So the whole point would be to be able to put a name or an initial or whatever it is on it, and just have whatever really cute pattern that you'd like. I really liked this pattern from this book that I have, but I want to do a different pattern for this video. So I just have this sheet of printed cardstock. I think I got this from Joann Fabrics, most likely on sale. Have you guys heard that Joann Fabrics is going out of business, or it's going bankrupt? So that's true. I'm tragically sad. There's a lot of really cute, like I like these ones that are just the abstract patterns, and ones that are, like, the patterns can go in any direction, because it makes it easier when you're trying to line stuff up. Ooh, I really like that one. I think I want to go with, I wonder if there's any pink in here. Oh, right here. Okay. This is a really simple, light pink, and I really like pink, so that's what we're going to do, and I'm going to make something for my daughter. So let's go to the laser and let me show you guys how we do this. Okay, so we are here in Lightroom. If you have a Glowforge, the process is going to be really simple, really similar to this. So steps are practically the same. So what we're going to do is import our file. I will make these available on my Etsy shop. If I get around to doing it, I will make these a freebie in my email. You can sign up for my email for emails on laser things. But hang on, I'm going to move my acrylic over in my machine. I always like to try to get every little scrap of my acrylic used, and if I can get this to fit, oh, that's going to be so tight. What the heck, we'll try it. No, we won't. I lied, we're not going to try it. We're going to fit it right here. Okay, so right now I'm cutting the acrylic. The acrylic was already in my machine. My settings are already set. This is what my power settings are on Lightburn, for those of you who are using the same software. This is 1/8 inch acrylic. If you want to use a backer to put a backside so the backside's not paper, you're going to want to cut 2 of these. Or if, like I said, if you have Flex, or you want to wait and buy some Flex, or you have a different kind of thin, maybe a thin wood, or something that you want to put over the back. Wood would be really cute on the back of these, actually. Cut that, but you're going to need to cut out everything in this shape, right? So this is all good to go. My settings are all set, so I'm going to send this to my laser. I'm gonna hit OK. I'm gonna hit play on my laser, and then we'll go watch that, and then we'll cut the paper next, and I'll show you how, if you have Lightburn, where you can find settings for paper. And then also, if you have Glowforge and you use like the Glowforge app, they should have some kind of cardstock preset setting that you can use to kind of give you a starting point on that as well. I just hit play on my machine, and now my laser is going to cut out the shape. One of the things I like about Thunder is it actually gives you like the runtime right on the screen, and it tells you what percent it is. So this cut took 27 seconds at that speed and power. So we have our shape. We're going to set that on our table. Pull that out, and then I need our paper. And then, so what I like to do in mine, because we have metal trays, right? I have these little magnets. I got off like a ton of them. We already had this whole stack off of Amazon. And I have two of them right there. I like to use these to hold down the paper. Let me put one in the middle there, so that when you're cutting and the fan is blowing, the paper doesn't blow up and like start on fire, right? Fires and lasers are like the most terrifying thing. So using little, and I mean these things are so thin, and they're great for paper. They're not strong enough to hold down wood. I have these ones that I have for my embroidery hoops that are strong enough to hold down wood, barely, but like if my wood's bowing really bad, it might take 2 or 3 magnets to press it down. But again, I really like these little ones. And then I'll probably just cut it up here in this corner, and we'll be good to go. So let's go look at the settings on the computer. Okay, we're back at the computer. First thing I want to do is update. If you have Glowforge, you won't have to do that. I want this to go back to how it was. I'm going to give my magnet over here a little bit of space, so I'm placing that. I'm going to go back to my cut layers, and right here, this speed and power is for acrylic. If I did this on my paper, it would burn it. So down here, there's a little tab called Library. These are settings that I made for myself. These are settings that you can upload from Thunder's website if you have a Thunder laser that you can use. If whatever laser brand you have probably has some kind of library, or maybe one of your favorite laser creators has a library file that you can upload. You would upload one right here. So I'm going to go down to this heavy paper. I'm going to click that. I'm going to click cut, and then because this is the line that I have, I'm going to click assign, and you can see right here that this is the settings. If you don't have access to this library and you have a Thunder laser or a comparable laser, this is the settings that I'm using on mine. 200 speed, 40 power. Honestly, I've already cut one of these, and I think that I can go up higher on speed because I'm using thinner cardstock. So I'm going to do 250 and see how that goes. But now that my settings are good, my placement is all set, I'm going to go back to the laser tab, and I'm going to send this to my machine, and we're going to cut the paper. And then once we do that, I'm going to show you guys how I combine these. Send. Okay, we'll go back to the laser. Okay, so I clicked send. I'm going to hit play. And then we're going to watch this cut. Okay, so as you can see, the paper cuts way faster. Magnets. Okay, I'm trying to figure out the best placement of the camera here. We have our paper cut out. Based on the slight charring on this, I probably could have turned my speed up even more or my power down more. First thing I want to do is remove this backing. I'm going to use my little needle tool to pry up a corner. Pulled the masking off the first side. Now I want to pull the masking off. Okay, so I have my piece of clear acrylic and then I have my paper, and when I line them up, they line up perfectly, as you can see. So what I did was put the Mod Podge on the paper and put the paper on there. You could put it on the acrylic and sandwich it that way. This is just what I decided to do. I just have, these are like dollar store paint brushes, okay? And I'm using, better put the cap back on before I try to tip this backwards and show you guys. Mod Podge Gloss Luster. As long as it dries clear, you should be able to use any clear Mod Podge. Honestly, this stuff is probably expired. Like, this is so old. I couldn't even tell you last time I bought Mod Podge. Like, probably at least 5 years. So I just am taking a little bit onto my brush, and I'm going to do a really thin layer on here, and I want to make sure that I'm getting the edges pretty good. Because you don't want anything peeling up at the edges. And then I'm going to line this up, and then if you have one of these tools, like I use this to apply masking. I didn't do this on my last one, and I have an air bubble in there and it drives me nuts. So you have a tool, a credit card, anything. And then I applied another layer of Mod Podge on the back. Honestly, I have no clue. I'm gonna need to get some paper towel. What the Mod Podge on the back does, but I see everybody I've ever seen use Mod Podge does a layer on the front and then a layer on the back. So that's what we're gonna do too. And it honestly seems to be holding up well. And the other one just be, oh, there's a Tatum hair in there, my golden retriever. Okay. Be careful that you're not like peeling the edges back up. I keep catching my finger on the edges here. And then also, I got Mod Podge a little bit on my table. So sometimes it can be helpful when you're doing this to get something to elevate it so you don't, you know, get Mod Podge on the front like I did. I'm just gonna let that dry. If you were going to add an additional layer on the back, maybe you were gonna cut another piece of acrylic or wood, either you would Mod Podge it to the back, or you could use something like a sheet of 3M. That's really good. If you're using like a clear acrylic on the back, 3M might be best. It's the easiest. Or you can use like a heavier duty like East 36000 or Gorilla Glue and attach on the back. I think wood would look really good on the back of this. So I'm just gonna let that dry. And then I think that the best thing that you could do is cut out a large initial or a name, and then you can use a string to tie these and use them as gift basket tags or whatever you want to use them for. Yeah, so that's that. I'll show you guys the finished product once it all dries. And like I said, the files, this one is an oval, that one is a circle. I have it in 4 different sizes, going from 2 inches to 5 inches, or 2.5 to 5.5 inches. And the whole size is the same for you to easily thread. This is the 3.5 inch, as well as the circle that I had was the 3.5 inch. So I have circles and ovals, it'll all be one file, it'll be really affordable. But yeah, I think that's that.